Hi, I am Chris Paulo Taibe, and you're welcome to yet another episode of Forex Matters, your monitor on Forex development in the economy. You know, we're still on the discourse regarding the Central Bank of Nigeria's suspension of Forex allocation to the Bureau de Change Operators, popularly referred to as the BDCs. And we have in the house to discuss that today with us uh, Professor Ifeanyi Ndubuisi Wokoma and Mr. Tope Fashua. Both are major voices in the economic stratosphere of Nigeria. And of course, we will be hearing from Nigerians as your good selves, what they think about it. This and many more after this time out. Once again, you're welcome to Forex Matters. You're welcome back. This is Forex Matters. In a major policy shift, on July 27, 2021, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, cancelled 2.3 trillion naira Forex sales to the BDCs, thus suspending the operators from its weekly Forex supply. Hovering between 570 to 575 naira to the dollar, the exchange rate between the naira and the dollar at the parallel market stabilized in the last few weeks, even as the CBN maintained its ban on sales of Forex to the BDCs. However, as the supply side dried up in the retail end of the Forex market, largely due to the ban of course, the exchange rate took a turn for the worst, depreciating at an average of 2 naira 9 kobo per day from the 1st of September, till the CBN hammered down on the Aboki FX, a local portal for black market exchange rates. Well, that is where things stand today in the Forex market. Other developments are coming up, but until they manifest themselves, because the CBN governor is not sleeping, he's trying his best to make sure that he comes out with, the policy works, that he's creating. So until then, this is where we stand for now. Now, that is going to be our major focus on this episode today. But before we go into the story, I think it's suffice for us to have a fair idea of the state of play, in the Forex market today.
In Zimbabwe, business calls for dialogue amid government blitz on exchange rate offenders. Still on Zimbabwe, central bank business commit to fight exchange rate crisis. In West Africa, Nigerian government cautioned against further devaluation of the naira. In Namibia, annual inflation increases to 3.5% in September. Dollar price stable at Egypt's major banks. Now in Liberia, President Nimli of Used Cars Dealers Association calls on central bank governor to explain proper plans to introduce new banknote currency. In the stock market, the British pound sterling slides following Brexit trade deal worries. And dollar edges lower, Evergrande News supports risk appetite.
Foreign exchange, hard currencies, dollar, pound sterling, euro, Dutch marks, French francs, and so on. It is all about Forex. It is the denominator that lubricates the economy as well as your life. International trade is run by it. Our national economy is dependent on it. As a manufacturer, it is what you need to bring your materials from overseas. And as a parent, it is what you need to send your children to school abroad. And for critical medical treatment, Forex is what you need to get that hospital outside Nigeria. So you need to know how it's faring in the market, how and where you can get it through the banks and the BDCs. Forex Matters will bring to you information on developments in the Forex market and how the community is responding, just to make it good for you. Forex Matters, your monitor on Forex developments.
Recently, the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, suspended Forex allocation to the Bureau de Change operators. The governor of the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, Mr. Godwin Emefiele, said the BDCs had abandoned the primary duties to engage in illicit transactions, among other failings. According to him, all Forex allocations are now to be conducted by the deposit money banks. He also said the CBN had suspended further processing of BDCs application for Forex henceforth, as well as stopped additional licensing of operators. In its response, the President's Association of Bureau de Change Operators of Nigeria, APCON, Aminu Gwadabe, said the association will engage with the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, to address and resolve all the issues that led to the recent ban and sale of foreign exchange to its members. The planned engagement, he said, will seek to identify and sanction erring BDCs where necessary. Although the CBN has suspended allocation to its members, the APCON president said the association is still providing foreign exchange services in spite of a recent ban of sale of foreign exchange to its members by the Apex Bank. He said the pronouncement by the CBN did not stop BDCs from providing foreign exchange services as allowed by the operating licenses and also the operating guidelines. Gwadabe said BDCs are licensed to provide retail FX services, including buying from the public and also selling to end users for allowable transactions, namely personal travel allowance (PTA), business travel allowance (BTA), payment of medical and school fees. He said while the CBN has stopped dollar sale to BDCs, it has not cancelled their operating licenses or banned them from providing FX services to members of the public. It will be noted that as soon as the Apex Bank cut off Forex supply to the BDCs, it released $200 million to the commercial banks and have continued to serve them Forex weekly. Now, 24 hours after the CBN announcement, the Naira-dollar exchange rate at the parallel market climbed up to 525 Naira to $1 from 495 Naira to $1. This was as a result of the panic created by the policy change. Barely 2 weeks after directing full Forex supplies to the commercial banks, the Apex Bank has started discovering unwholesome practices by some bank customers. This was a subject that featured in the 357th bankers meeting held on July 12, 2021. Clearly, it's looking like the suspension of foreign allocation to the BDCs may not have been necessary, as the very issues that led to suspension are now resurfacing in the commercial banks.
If you're just joining me, this is Forex Matters, and on the card today are issues concerning the current development in the Forex part of the economy. Since the suspension of Forex supply to the BDCs, the Naira has been battling to regain its steam, and CBN Governor Godwin Emefiele has been working round the clock to steady the course. Although the Naira may be exchanging within the 570 Naira range to the dollar, but we trust that the CBN is working round the clock to close the Naira-dollar gap.
What you should know about the BDCs. 1. Together, they have created over 300 billion Naira worth of assets in the economy, judging by their capital. 2. Together, they have created about 40,000 jobs for Nigerians. 3. They provided the most potent tool of the Central Bank of Nigeria exchange rate management in 2006, 2009, and 2017 to 2020. 4. They partner with the Central Bank of Nigeria, Nigeria Interbank Settlement System (NIBSS), and Nigeria Financial Intelligence Unit (NFIU) to build ICT capacity for data transmission to relevant agencies. 5. They deepen FX market and accessibility. 6. They help reduce incidents of fake currency in circulation. And 7. They provide safer and more decent alternative to the malam selling dollars on the streets.
You're watching Forex Matters. As you've heard in the report, the BDCs are still in business. The only difference is that they no longer get their weekly Forex allocation from the CBN. Time for our main story. We begin with Tope Fashua, an economist. He is the founder and CEO of Global Analytics Consulting and a former presidential aspirant in the 2019 elections. He ran on the platform of Abundant Nigeria Renewal Party, ANRP. He did an analogy of BDCs equivalents in other countries.
In the UK, about 145 money changer, bureau de change brands, okay, which are on the high street and some of them are the airports. In the US, the same thing. In fact, it's even less common, except in tourist centers like New York, where you have about 40 of them in New York with established offices. You're changing money for people. In the UAE, as much as people travel there and their business is basically tourism, they have 130 the last time I checked.
For him, the BDCs are too many and they need to be compressed.
Yeah, it needs to compress. I think what the central bank has reacted to is that they also lost control of the entry point, okay? So when you lose control of it's just like if I could open a bank today and you could open, and everybody was opening banks because the barriers were too low. Before you know it, we're going to have 100,000 banks in Nigeria, and everybody will do whatever it is they wanted. And the central bank, how many returns do they want to get from which central bank? From which bank?
Tokwe defines how generation of currency crisis can affect the stability of a local currency.
So the first one is in international finance. It all speaks about the fixed rate system, and suggests that a country should not fix its rate of currency, because if you do, speculators will move against your currency and they will be eyeing your reserves. So they say, "Oh, how much does Nigeria have in reserve? 35 billion. How much is that?" You can move against these guys. When they move against your currency, that means they move into the naira, that they're using the naira to buy the dollar, meaning that they are shorting the naira, they're displaying lack of confidence in the naira. It gets to a certain point, the central bank will have to devalue the naira.
The second, he says, is the self-fulfilling prophecy.
The self-fulfilling prophecy is that when the people, the owners of a currency, when the people say that the currency is going to devalue, the currency will devalue, okay? It's called the self-fulfilling prophecy. And basically so that tells you that, and it can play both ways, that if people say that the currency is going to devalue, like we usually say here, everybody believes that Nigeria is gone to the dogs, Nigeria will never make it, the naira will become useless like toilet paper, and therefore the naira is generally becoming like that. So, but that also tells you that if you talk up the naira, and if you let people see the upsides of the economy, wherever the upside may be, it has an effect in maintaining the value of the naira.
Ndubuisi Ifeanyi Nwokoma is a professor of financial economics at the Department of Economics, University of Lagos, UNILAG, and a director at the Center for Economic Policy Analysis and Research, CEPA, also in UNILAG. Here is an excerpt of my conversation with him on developments in the Forex side of the Nigerian economy.
How have you, working with the UN really, how have you been able to come up with a model or a module, that you think nations should benefit from?
Well, when you talk about financing basically, there's what we call the monetary consensus. There was this agreement by the world bodies in a place called Monterrey in Mexico, in which there's this direction of how do you finance development, and it involves so many areas, which also covers trade, it covers remittances, covers FDI inflows into many developing countries, covers the markets, financial markets, capital markets, money markets, which also talk about foreign exchange, talks about tax administration, talks about debt relief, and debt forgiveness, talks about aid. So there are 6 core areas of monetary, which basically covers the entire economy, because you have to finance development either by being able to manage the financial markets, in which you talk about how does foreign exchange, how do the exchange rates interrelate from one to the other, so that you have enough money to be able to pour into various projects in your various economies. How do you attract money from abroad? How do you make the environment conducive for foreigners to come in and invest in you? How do you manage short-term capital, portfolio investments? So all these areas border on inflow of capital, which also affects the foreign exchange rate for each country. So these are areas that you engage African countries on how to manage their systems such that they can get the optimum status uh, for capital to flow in. So you need to manage your exchange rate very well, properly for you to attain all these objectives.
Still when you were with the UN and with the UN experience too, which of the African countries would you say has gotten it right in terms of forex management within the context you just
Well,
promised?
yeah, if you take a look at African economies, generally speaking, you find that we can clearly identify three countries that have that are performing well when you talk about managing the economy generally, because managing the economy involves not just foreign exchange, but other internal balance, external balance. You have to have balance internally and also externally, external balance. We have a country like Ethiopia. It's landlocked. It's been able to leverage its link with China and these other countries, and with strong leadership, been able to manage. It's a very poor country, but the level where they are, it's actually beyond expectation. So Ethiopia is a country that is doing well, been able to manage their macroeconomy very well. The other one is Rwanda. Rwanda with strong leadership and with focus, been able to manage their macroeconomy such that they're able to have deliverables, and also the gender issue, being able to make sure the women are involved. The other one is Botswana. Botswana is a country that is doing well, managing its resources very well, which are basic commodities. And all these countries are landlocked. Unfortunately, they're all landlocked countries. So the idea of being landlocked or not landlocked actually is not even a very key issue when it comes to managing your macroeconomy. You need strong leadership. And if we take a look at Asia, for example, Asia developed through dictators that were benevolent. So you need strong leadership to be able to drive the economy, have a focus, and be able to manage the macroeconomic indicators, of which we have one of them is foreign exchange. Once you're able to do that, you discover that the economy will do well.
Forex in Nigeria for some time now seems to, well, first of all, dive to the front burner of our national life, and it's going down the hill because everybody can now see it going down the hill. First of all, what is your impression of that? What's your take on that?
You can actually affect the price by working on supply or working on demand. You do have demand management policies where you now say, what do we need foreign exchange for? It's a derived demand. People get foreign exchange because of what foreign exchange will give for them. So it's a derived demand. So what you can do is to manage your demand. You are importing something. You are importing barley. Why can't you importing wheat? Why can't you get something from within the economy, alternative to subsidize, so that you don't need to look for foreign exchange to get the barley if you're making beer? Or we are trying to make what you call the conflicts. Why not get the corn from Nigeria than buying corn? So you can manage demand management policies, or you can talk about supply, encourage exports, so that people can earn foreign exchange. You have autonomous sources of foreign exchange. The salary accounts were open so that people can now be encouraged to export. When you export, you can now have other sources of foreign exchange apart from the main source, which is oil. So you can talk about demand management policies or supply management.
The CBN had an arrangement,
Yeah.
with the BDCs, the Bureau de Change, which a lot of people, a lot of Nigerians, pedestrians, who felt it worked well for them, because of accessibility and and availability too. But then the CBN now shut that window, and since the shutting down of that window till now, there hasn't been anything to justify that decision.
The action of central bank.
Central bank. So, what do you think in this context?
I'm not a spokesperson for central bank, but what I think will have been the reason, which appeared obvious, was that there was a lot of speculation on the naira. People are speculating. There's a lot of speculation, and that the actual rate, the exchange rate, actually was not real. It was just an imaginary rate, because many people actually were not out making demand for foreign exchange because they want to use it to transact in the economy. They were just speculating. There was a lot of speculation going on. So it was more like a business, and there were many traders coming up. And that was reflected in the number of applications for broad exchange company. Many people were applying because there was a lot of speculation going on. So the rate that was being displayed in the market was not real. I know there was a time I was okay. When they had this 41 items that were not qualified for foreign exchange through central bank, and I spoke on it in one of the TV, just like an interview which took place, and the issue was that we needed to conserve foreign exchange, and then that there's one reason those things can be produced locally, rice and so on, and that the central bank will not provide foreign exchange for such kind of items, so that we'll be forced to. So anybody who really wants to import those things should look for alternative sources of foreign exchange, and that led to a boom. It's like you're solving one problem and you're creating another problem. So those who still want, because the economy could not actually produce some of those things, we still import rice. We still do import so many of these things. The so-called local production actually was not adequate. If you go to the market now, the rice you buy, many of them are imported. And you ask yourself, how did they get foreign people to buy those rice? They get it through the parallel market. So that's it. Because when you say you cannot buy from this source and you're not producing to make up, the rice is not enough. The rice you make from Kebbi or from Abakaliki is not enough to go around. So people still have to eat rice. And rice is almost like a staple food in Nigeria. Rice, gari, staple. So rice must come in. And when rice come in, how did they get the foreign exchange? You ask that question. You have to go to the parallel market.
You're welcome back. It's time to have your views, about the development. So let's hear what Nigerians think about the new CBN policy.
Really, if you take look at the situation in the country right now in terms of unemployment and then trying to throw some other workforce from another sector into that section again. But I would want to believe that we have people that are there in their right thinking that would maybe, yes, they've announced this and they've not really spelled out what they're trying to drive with it and the roles the BDC would still further play. But in any right governance, we all know that they're relevant, no matter how bad we look at them, no matter how much we feel that they're doing this or that might not be to the detriment, to enhancing government's policies and all that. But one way or the other, they're needed.
Saying about the fact that they have an association, it's good that they're organized, but they're also part of the stakeholder. They matter. They are providing a service and they are making money and they employ people. But I'm saying that the measurement of data collected from that industry should be relevant, but it's not there.
The country needs direction, and for BDC, I don't think, from my own perspective, it's the right decision to take at this time. That's one thing. So I think the government should look into it and find out what needs to be done to keep the BDC in operation and make it work better than just say we are going to suspend it, because it will affect the lives of the Nigerian citizens. Right, but I think government by now, to stop all this, will throw something in. You should be able to give a total overview of exactly what you want to do, the roles these guys will play, so that they begin to readjust themselves and get themselves ready. So we don't always do the fire brigade approach to everything that we want to do in the country.
But we should use that organization as a tool for advancement. After all, we go to other countries, you see Bureau de Change at the airport. You don't see them on the streets. And the ones that are at the airports, they are very controlled. And I can almost bet you what they sell to you, the rates at which they sell to you, you understand, is very close to what the bank will make available if you need it. So that's just what I think about the association. It needs to be a tool that helps in making the Forex regime better and progressive.
To still remain, because, for example, I schooled abroad, and while I had to pay my school fees, I went to my bank, opened the domiciliary account for Naira, Euro, and Pounds. So I was paying in Pounds. So I have to go to the BDC, make get my pounds, then I go to my bank, put it in my account, and I send the money to my school in the UK. While I'm doing that, I'm being charged telex charge, under bank charges. And if you look at in between, I've done a lot of things, I've lost money. So I think they should make you aware why these things can be done easily, that the banks, if they're working, they transfer the money in one way. But if you have a businessman that needs maybe loads of money that is beyond what the CBN thinks the bank can accept, then they can go to the BDC, get that money, then do their normal bank transaction. I think it makes more sense. So the common man can have his own done because he's spending little money.
If the central bank can make proper provision for them to work in compliance with the terms and conditions of their licenses and the rules and regulations of the central bank, and then we have inspectors, we have secret shoppers, you have a way of checking them out. That's number one. Properly sensitize the business community. That's number two. Provide access for people to lodge their complaints and get results.
In the next couple of episodes, we will be monitoring developments in the Forex market as the CBN suspension of Forex allocation to the BDCs continue to impact Forex trading in Nigeria. Well, that is all I have time for on today's episode. Thanks for staying with me through the half hour. Till we see you next time, next episode, same time, same station. I remain your friend and your Forex guide. Chris Podo Taigwe is my name. Bye for now.